You're about to understand what OpenClaw is. Can you believe me? When you finish this video, I'll make it short. You will know what OpenClaw is. OpenClaw is an agent. But the difference between this agent and other agents is that you can chat to it like a regular human being. You can, instead of like, the N8N and make.com and all these complicated setups, this agent is like a real human worker. So if you install OpenClaw, let's say on a mobile phone, Android, or on a Mac Mini, or on a computer, on your own computer for that matter, you now have an employee. So let me explain what you should not expect and what you should expect from OpenClaw. You should not expect that by installing it, you'll now have an employee that will do anything you want instantly. That's not how it works. The way OpenClaw works is you have to train it like you would a human being. Imagine somebody comes into your office and like knocks on your door. Hi, welcome. Hi, you're my new employee. That's OpenClaw. You've got to show him how to do things. And you have to also give him skills or like pieces of paper with information how to do things. So for example, let's say you have a business that has a WordPress site. It's not enough to go to the skill store and add the WordPress skill and that's it. That's not enough to get your OpenClaw to post for you on WordPress. He'll know how to access WordPress in general, but you still have to give him your username, your password, and whatever else it asks for in order to post. Then you have to tell it, listen, I want my content to be more SEO. Do you know what I mean? I want you to create better slugs, etc. So like slowly you're training your new employee. And over time, he will remember things. He will save it to his memory. And by the way, this is a secret trick. Whenever he does something right, tell him, listen, that was perfect. Save it into your memory. That one sentence will make sure that every time OpenClaw does something correctly, he will log that, and then next time he will do it right without needing your help. And slowly over time, this employee is going to become so good, you're going to want to promote him and pay him a little bit more. So for solo entrepreneurs, people that work alone, and even people that just want another worker, perhaps to replace or to add to your team, this is what you need. Now, it's amazing because it's completely free. OpenClaw is free. You can literally add it. You can go to the terminal, start typing. If you're not into that stuff, we have a software called Claw Launcher, which will help you install it and also maintain it and also back it up in case it breaks. And then you can start that way. So it's like, instead of hiring someone for $1,000 a month or $500 a month, you literally get OpenClaw. Just get it. Start getting your hands dirty. Train it to do what you want it to do. Once it's working perfectly, you set it up to work by itself. How do you do that? You set up cron jobs, they're called. All cron jobs are like, it's like an alarm. Think of it like an alarm clock. Every day at 7 a.m., you guys have an alarm clock that wakes you up, right? The same thing with OpenClaw. Every day at, let's say, 5 a.m., it wakes up by itself and starts creating a WordPress post based off your specific information that it looks up online, for example, and it generates an image and it pastes it into the featured image section on your WordPress site. And that's it. That's every day at 5. Now, if it works, which it will, then you do every day at 5 and also at 12. And then you can do that as many times as you want. You can iterate and iterate until it's doing 100 posts a day. And then now you can start understanding the power of this. This can be a machine to create for you content or to do your work, to process your problems. Do you know what I mean? Everyone who has a need for a worker could possibly use OpenClaw to minimize that need or perhaps to save you some money on certain tasks. The issue is that people expect OpenClaw will work right off the bat. Like you install it, it should work. Now, let me tell you something. OpenClaw is the most fragile piece of software I've seen in my life. It breaks 5 times a day. And if you don't have knowledge, you are going to be studying the docs. And if you're not into that stuff, then just don't get OpenClaw. The only way you can get OpenClaw if you're not into like fixing software like a programmer is to use Claw Launcher. And I know this is self-promotion and that's annoying. It makes you want to scroll away. But I'm not self-promoting because I want to make money. I'm self-promoting because Claw Launcher has restore points, which will save you when your OpenClaw breaks. It's going to say at the top, no agents, error, disconnected, not authorized, no token in URL, wrong gateway. All these stupid things. Like, what are you going to do about that? So Claw Launcher gives you easy buttons, generate new token, restart config. It says a fix automatically button, restore to a previous time. All of these things, like insane, insane, insane. When everything's working, you create a new restore point. Then you have a worker that you can use for long term. That I almost gave up on OpenClaw many times, but I just didn't want to give up because I know the potential of OpenClaw, and whenever they update it, by the way, it gets a bit more stable. Like today, it's like I think it's the 11th of March. Today already, it breaks much less, I have to say, and it's doing much better. They've even added like the ability to add your what's it called, the like your Brave API natively in the onboarding. And if you don't understand what that means, just don't worry about it. But all I'm saying is, when it asks you right at the end when you onboard, it asks you a bunch of questions. The first one is, are you okay installing this? And you're like, yes, of course I am. That's the whole point. And then it asks you, like, you know what I mean, what, like all these technical things. Just say yes to everything. And then in the API section, choose your API, and that's the bit technical. You need an API key. And after that, it's going to ask you which browser do you want to use. So I recommend using Brave. It's a very good browser. And then you just get your Brave API key from Brave. And that's it. You're good to go. Now, there are tons of skills online. Now, when everyone throws around the word skills as if you're supposed to understand it. And I remember when I used to hear the word skills from other YouTubers and TikTokers, I just didn't understand what a skill was. So you're gonna understand it now. A skill is a file, or I should say a folder really, but it's a file that has instructions that any chatbot can understand and use in order to perform actions. Now, skills are perfect for OpenClaw because OpenClaw can actually do things. He doesn't just talk to you, he can actually do things. So if you give OpenClaw a skill.md file, they have an extension like .md in the end. Like you know how images are .jpeg and videos are .mp4, skills are .md. So if you give your OpenClaw a skill.md file that tells it how to upload to WordPress, it now knows how to upload to WordPress. And then the funny thing is, when you say, listen, you just say, make a post and upload it to my WordPress, because obviously you want to test it to see if it can actually do it. You know what it's going to do? It's going to read that skills file and it's going to say to you, hey, I'm trying to upload to your WordPress site, but I need a username and password. And why is that so amazing? Because that's what a real human would do. A human would come to you and say, hey, can you please give me the username and password for your WordPress site so I can post for you? And so that's what OpenClaw is. OpenClaw is like buying a human. And actually, you feel pretty together with OpenClaw. It like makes you feel like you're dealing with something real, something like living. Like, I know it sounds a bit cringy and weird. Like, forgive me for the weird schizophrenic speech, but you feel like you have a friend, to be honest. So if you're lonely, you better get OpenClaw. Now, the funniest part about OpenClaw is it has a heartbeat. Now, a heartbeat is something, all it is that every half an hour, like by default, you can always change this because it takes up your API token usage. It has a heartbeat. What does that mean? Every half an hour, it looks at all of what it's done for you and it says, hey, what are we stuck on right now? And then it tries to continue. If it got stuck on something, and it's like literally, you know how ChatGPT, when you finish a conversation, it's always going to stay exactly where it is. Like, it's not going to change. OpenClaw does. OpenClaw wakes up after half an hour, it gets triggered by itself, and it looks at all the context, and it tries to figure out what it hasn't done. When it finds something it hasn't done, it literally goes back and tries to fix it. It's really amazing. Like, you can like walk away or go to sleep and wake up and the job is done because OpenClaw woke up in the middle of the night, like after you fell asleep, and did the work for you. So if you haven't yet got OpenClaw, go to clawlauncher.net, link in bio, probably not, and then add it just in one click install, and You have a new employee for free.